Don't you know that the music should be soft?
Are you ready?
Una venta.
Yes,
Una
I'm ready.
venta.
What's una venta? Go. I know what it means.
Is this what it's going to be now for the next 2 years?
Yeah, why
Let's
not?
see. What's it mean? So did you? Well, look, it's Spanish.
Yeah.
Even I knew that.
Yeah.
Unavailability of a product for any reason, including prior sale. So we all know that we're now heavy and getting heavier by the moment. Just listen to Bobby Munson. We're getting involved into drugs, into selling, making, cooking, crabbing, walking, and people aren't happy about it. And so, yeah, man.
I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say about this episode when we get to it. But
how about that first song, Theo? How about that guitar playing in that first song? How great was that?
It was Bob Dylan. Do you know that was a
Bob Dylan tune?
It was a Bob Dylan tune. Yeah, it's called a
fucking beautiful.
It's called a cover song. And
our cover song was beautiful. I don't know who's saying it.
Absolutely incredible, and it was I forget which song it was by Dylan.
Beautiful.
It was a Dylan song, and it was probably one of the best songs we've ever had on the show. But before we get to all that, let's do some housekeeping that we always do. First of all, I'm getting ready. I didn't get my run in this morning, so I'm wearing my running gear. I'm gonna go run right now.
Doesn't matter, son. Your colors are popping more than I can even say. You're popping.
This is my camouflage, just in case I gotta hide while I'm running.
For all you gorgeous people who are listening to this on all our podcasts everywhere around the world, Theo Rossi has a very young Kim Coates hairdo still. He's got this orange. He looked like a spacesuit. It's like a spacesuit.
Could be.
He got an orange zipper right around his neck.
Yeah.
My hands would be if I'm seeing him right now.
And look, my initials are on my arm.
T.I. for Theo Rossi.
This is when I was doing those runs for Nike. They put my initials on my arm.
That's beautiful.
So I'm gonna go do that. It was Mother's Day, and Meg and the friends went and her friends stayed in a hotel. So I was with the boys last night. I was just telling you, we had boys' night, me and my two young sons, and they're into all the 80s stuff. So we watched the Monster Squad. We watched the Goonies. I made them pizza. And then we had some leftover birthday cake from a friend's birthday we hosted. And Juno ate half the cake. So that was something I had to do.
Love what you said earlier. Tell the peeps of this family about how the drill sergeant came in to your 3-year-old.
That's all it is now at this point. I'm basically the guy from Full Metal Jacket with Kane and Arlo. And my mistake, and I'm trying to figure this out. I can't tell you I stay up late like reading about it. I talk to them like they're going to give me an answer like it would be me and you. I'm like, why would you do that?
Right.
Like, why did you? I don't understand. Why did you step on your brother's hair? You knew it was going to hurt him. Why would you do it? Why would you do that? Just tell me why you did it. And like, he's just staring at me. And what I know is happening in his head is what I told you, where he's like,
funny.
I'm 3. That's what he's saying without saying it. And I'm looking for him to like be philosophical back to me. Well, Dad, I felt
Dad, I knew at the moment of contact of the hair on the boot, it would be a 2.3 second pain, but he deserved it for that. No, it's like, I'm 3, Dad.
Like, I'm 3. I can't sit still. I'm 3. And when I tell you the coolest thing, and this is why I love hanging out with them, tonight I have a night with just Arlo and I. Megan's going to babysit for a friend. Like we do these like trade-off babysit. Babysit.
Nice community thing to do.
Yeah, we do his community thing. So and it's actually the same friend who we hosted their birthday. So I'm gonna be with Arlo tonight. And Arlo's 3, gonna be 4. But I told you they're really into like 80s stuff. So you probably wouldn't know this, but like now we're watching this 1984 cartoon, The Snorks, which I used to watch.
Right over my head. Way too old for that.
Anybody who hears this knows the Snorks. The Snorks are badass. And Kane is into G.I. Joe, the 1985 to 89 original G.I. Joe, these are all a pleasure for me to watch.
Yeah.
As opposed to this new stuff. The only new stuff I don't mind that they play over and over is I'm a big Wreck-It Ralph fan. If you get a chance, you should watch it. It's a good film. It's an animated film. And there's a few others. We watch Sing a lot. But point is, I'm going to go running right after this podcast because I missed my morning one because we were on, I was on dad duty.
You're on dad duty, baby.
Dad
The
duty.
things I watched with my girls were Barney, the big purple dinosaur.
Glad I
Barney.
missed that. I'm glad.
I mean, please let me get into a closet and lock myself in for decades. It destroyed me.
That would drive
Barney.
me nuts.
Love that Barney. Love that.
Yeah.
The girls loved them.
I don't want to see adults in those costumes and.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they weren't adults. Maybe they're teenagers making a summer living.
No, I think they were adults. There was a movie with Ed Norton where there was like a play on Barney. I forgot
on
what it was
Barney?
called. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see that.
Don't destroy it for me.
I won't. It was a good movie. Yeah, no, times have changed. What's old is new, right? It's retromania. That's why I said to you that I want to do a Waterworld TV show. Like we should bring it back. It would just be too expensive.
It'd just be too expensive, Theo.
I know. What's
Unless we
old
shot
is
in like
new.
Nova Scotia or Maine or something, in the summertime.
But it would be so cool. Like, think about that. Like, I would love to be. I would be one of the smokers, Dennis Hopper's.
You would be. You have to be Dennis Hopper's nephew.
Yeah, and then we do your character's obviously there, and he's got even more weird and more.
They said to Dennis Hopper when he accepted the role, he said, "What have I got to do exactly?" He goes, "Wear an eye patch, smoke cigarettes, and just come to Hawaii for a year." He went, "I'm in. Where do I sign?"
Yeah, and hoard fuel.
Yeah,
and do it.
hoard fuel.
I just love that movie, and I told you I was recently talking about it with a friend who's a big exec, and I just think I just love it. One day we'll do on our other show on Theory. We'll do a big talk.
We'll talk about all that stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It looked good. It looked good. The cameras.
What year was it?
Pardon me?
What year was it made?
We shot it in 92.
Okay. Came out in 94.
Yeah. It took a year and a half to finish.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear all about that.
Yeah,
but we're rocking and rolling on our Patreon show, Theory. Theory Pod with Theo Rossi and Kim Coates. We're doing our first ever live Q&A on in a few days, right? When is that?
Yeah, well, by the time this comes out, we'll have done it already.
We'll have done it already.
Yeah, we'll have done it already. So kind of going to be exciting. We'll talk about it on the next show. Yeah. And because we have to record these a couple of days before the Tuesday, Wednesday, as the fans know, as our family knows. But we're tossing around our next guest too, Theo. We're juggling. We've got 3 or 4 that are dying to come on. We're juggling.
Yeah, and I know it's not that we're saving anyone, because obviously there's people that we're going to bring on multiple times, but we are juggling. And we also, you and I have an obscure thing for guests. There's certain people that we really focus on, that I guess that maybe it's even the ones that we're not as tight with, that we're like, man, I really love their performance.
It's because we're watching the show for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, one of the guys in this one who I knew, we had the same agent at the time, not my agent anymore, but Lobo Sebastian, who plays the president of Sam Taz. He's fantastic in this episode. Fantastic. And he's just got such gravitas, his voice and whatever. So there's certain actors that I'm watching, we were just talking about Trejo and, and playing Romeo, and that I guess for you and I watching this, I'm like, oh man, I didn't realize they're really good in this.
We were in some of the scenes with these guys and girls. We saw them for coffee breaks. We'd see McNally go off to the hospital and say good morning to you. But now to see the work,
she's my MVP.
Everybody's work, huh?
McNally's my MVP so far. She's my favorite. And I think because I didn't expect it. She's so good.
We have to get her on.
I know we do. She's so good. And I think what I like about her the best is that if you're a real fan of Sons, a true fan, how good she was on this show.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be oh, Jax and Tig and Juice and this and that. But when you're Margaret was she had a full arc with the
massive arc with Tara. Yeah,
yeah,
massive.
And again, there's so many others, but you know, we're going to have them all. We have a ways to go, and whoever fits the show will be on the show. But yeah, so we got our other show. We're doing our first live Q&A. We've been dropping a bunch of episodes. You know what I'm really proud of us for? And I just want to say this.
Please tell me, Theo.
I'm really proud of all the bonus content we're doing on that Patreon page.
I'm exhausted. Like, look at me. We still can't talk about why the sideburns. Still can't talk about why the hair. We still can't talk about where I'm going.
Looks
but
awesome.
I'm absolutely exhausted, but fuck am I happy. Like,
I know.
I mean, I'm
So
learning
fun.
so much shit from you and Justin, that whole Patreon thing.
Yeah.
And what we're doing for everybody and what they're doing for us. And oh my God, it's just so much fun.
Yeah,
It's
there's
a lot
that
of-
video. That video you never even knew that video I put up from 2011. It was me driving to set for the first day of season 4.
Unreal.
And I recorded not just me driving to set.
How did you know that we were going to be on a podcast that would come in handy?
10 years
How did
ago.
you know that?
10 years later. And what do I say in the video? I say no one will ever see this video because I'm not going to be allowed to show it to anyone, because that was back in the day when
Can't
we were
show.
so nervous.
No photos.
No
Take
photos.
it easy. You're fucking fired.
No,
Remember,
you'd be
Theo?
fired.
We would have people, I certainly did, and I know you did, that would come to visit Kim Coates.
Yeah.
They'd just come and hang out with Coatesy for a few days. They always wanted to go to the set. And I would say to them, okay, you can come to the set and I'm going to show you some things, but there ain't no pictures.
Mm-mm.
If I see a fucking camera, you're going over my leg. And there's going to be
Mhm.
a couple of smacks coming your way.
Yeah.
No. And those people walked away like they had the biggest secret of seeing the table for the first time.
Yep.
I've seen certain scenes that we haven't even filmed yet, getting ready for it. What's this for? I said, I can't really tell you, but check out that.
Yeah.
Check out that, right?
We had it on our call sheet, no pictures. And then back then, I don't know if it still exists. There was a website back then. I might get the URL wrong or whatever, but it was called tvspoilers.com. And what some of the extras or people who were visiting or somehow it would get out, someone would take a picture of our call sheet. And a call sheet, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically like what's going to happen for the day, who's coming in at what time, who's in what scene. And it would be your number and your name and, you know, blah, blah, blah.
What
blah.
scenes we were doing and
Sure.
what props are needed for the day, all that stuff. Really
and
cool.
to help the crew, sometimes there'd be a description that would say like, Tig and Venus do this. And people would see that and go, oh shit. Like that's today, like an extra somebody, and they would take a picture and they would give it and put it on the internet. And that's when the lockdown of like security got so crazy on our show. So the funny thing, what I was saying about the Patreon page is that I had that video on my phone because I've been going through my phone because now that we have that page and putting all this bonus content, and it's literally me driving a set, season 4, which we didn't, you know, that's when we knew the show was kind of a bona fide hit. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to show this video to anyone. And then I run
amazing.
It's
on Patreon now. It's amazing. Yeah. It's on it. Come on, that shit. No one's seen. I haven't even seen it.
I know you're in the video.
Am I in it?
Opie, me, you, Opie. Yeah. You got to watch it. It's on the page.
That's fucking great.
But the point is that we're having a lot of fun over there and we're doing that. And then with this, we just have, we're just starting season 4. Again, we got season 4, 5, 6, 7. People are super hyped about season 4. I guess this was a kind of a big turning point for a lot of things. So listen, I'm looking more and more like you every minute, and it's scaring the shit out of me. And I'm
already scared shitless. Just
I have to,
but it does warm my heart.
It does.
I know. I'm looking at a young Kim Coates.
It warms the biscuit.
The curly hair, and the fucking beautiful face.
Yes.
The eyes aren't blue, but they are sparkling.
They are. No, I'm gonna go do that little gig in June. I gotta see what I'm gonna do with my look, and then see what, you know, just like you're doing right now.
Have you noticed how people, Theo, are commenting on these little, like we had Dayton on a couple of weeks ago, and it's amazing. They're commenting on how amazing our little acting nuggets are. They love that stuff. They're loving that shit. I love it.
Me too. We're gonna do an entire episode on Theory about that.
Oh boy, we'll do more than one.
Yeah, because, I think it's stuff that I can understand. I always thought, well, if you're not an actor, why would you care? And because acting is so personal and it's your way is completely different than my way, and Banner's way is completely different than Fichtner's way, and so-and-so's ways, everybody's way is different. There is no singular way. But I think that what's interesting is knowing people's different ways. Like, right, I was just telling you, I read that book on John Casale, and I've been doing all this deep diving research into, sadly because they're gone, but Philip Seymour Hoffman and Robin Williams, and looking at all the way they would do it. And I read this thing recently about Robin that was so amazing is they said, or maybe I saw it in a documentary, that Robin he would go full bore between action and cut, like full bore, all in, every bit of energy, sweating, trying all these million things, improving. And I think maybe it was Ethan Hawke or somebody said at the end of the day, they would just see Robin just sitting there in a chair, like fully exhausted, like couldn't even speak.
He was wiped out.
Drained, wiped.
He was emotionally wiped out.
Gone. And he just left it, like they say, leave it all in the field. He just left it all out there at the expense of himself, right?
Yeah.
And then what people don't know is there's actors who are opposite that. And what I mean by that is, and these are the ones that drive me nuts. You've worked with them. I worked with them, where they're like, hey, you got one setup, 2 takes. Let's go. This is what you're going to get. There's no variety. It's going to be one setup. It's going to be, I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to turn my head this way.
About that. It's all
about them greenbacks. It's all about the money.
So boring. I can't even. So boring.
It's so boring. And there are many like that. So there's these, and then there's the one, there's the in between that you're conserving your sanity and you conserve depending on the characters you're playing. But again, that's stuff that I want to get into. And I am so glad that people take an interest in that, because I think it's interesting, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's very close to the study of psychological behavior, because you're pretending.
It's terrific. It's terrific that everybody's getting a nice little snapshot of you and me, a snapshot of how, and why this whole thing came up a year ago, and what we're talking about reviewing this incredible show. And then we talk about our lives, we talk about our acting, we talk about this and that. And I'm finding it so freaking interesting to talk about, and they are too. And that's a great thing. And
I find everything interesting. Like, this is my thing. I could find interest in anything like that. Recently there was a guy who was he was the handyman in the neighborhood. He would come and fix everything, right, in this house we're in. And he's the greatest guy. He's way older, right?
My age.
No, way older than 70s. And I guess when the pandemic hit and all that, rough, right? He couldn't get in anywhere. Nobody wanted them in their houses, and he had to protect his own health and this and that. And he recently went to work at, Amazon. And I ran into him, and I was asking him about, how is it? Like, what's going on there? And we had this great talk.
Great.
But the point is that I found as much interest in that as I would in anything, because I don't know anything about that. I don't know the beat. But so it doesn't really matter what your thing is. I can find an interest in anything that people do as long as they're interested in it.
And that's what we're doing here, bro.
That's what we're doing here. So
come on, let's get back to Bob
Una
Dylan.
Venta.
Yeah.
The beginning's great, so I'm going to let you get in. I do have problems with this episode, so I'm going to let you start, because I know you're pretty positive about it.
I just love the whole beginning. I love that, Jax and Tara, when Jax goes, you want to know more? And she goes, it's too early in the day for that. Like there's an opportunity for them to revisit who they are now as a couple, baby together. He's out of prison. You want to know it all? And Tara is wiping her eyes going, it's too early to really find out.
And then Clay and Gemma are obviously at odds, right?
Well, like they're still super pissed off at him for that. Hands around the throat,
and she should be
the rail. And she should be, of course.
And then here we are, the worker bees, right? The little, as they said, the little elves, we're all loading up.
And look at me operating that power jack, safety first. Did they always give me that gig? I think they might have.
You're Canadian, you know how to work.
I'm Canadian. I know what, and I worked for Safeway all those years.
They know it. They know you know what you're doing. And I'll tell you 2 things here at this moment. But before we do that, I want to take a break. Look at this.
No, I love the little cow titties on the bottom of that cup.
It's the udders. The udders are the
yeah,
bottom
man.
of my cow mug. I'm
It's like when I was
drinking out
doing
of
that
a
with
cow
Half
mug.
Sack in season 2, pulling
And
the
the udders are
yeah,
the thing
man.
that holds the mug up.
No, that's very cute.
It's amazing.
Cute.
So let me tell you really quickly to break on that scene. You're loading in the guns. I'm helping you, right?
Yeah.
Couple of things are going on here that I noticed because I like to notice these little things. One, your mustache is back, which, by the way, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. Okay, because I couldn't deal with what was happening. Thank God.
I was pepper for weeks to get it going. Come on, let's go.
Okay, yeah, or that horse cream. They put stuff on to make it grow. Two, this is easily my favorite Juice look. Like this was how I always wanted Juice to look, and it only took me 42 episodes.
Yeah.
Like this
40, yeah.
40 something episodes.
You look good.
That's Juice.
No, but
to me, that's Juice.
You figured out your head.
Figured out everything.
Those tats. You figured out how you want. Are you unbuckled? Are you buckled? Are
Mm-hmm.
you snapped? Are you not? Your wardrobe, you and Kelly got it like that for the first, because you came out of prison and it was a whole new deal for you, man.
Yeah, I got rid of all the rings. I just wore one color pair of Carhartts. I wore a black t-shirt. I had my cut buttoned all the way up.
So good.
My mohawk was a certain thing because I used to cut my own mohawk. So I had it at the inches I wanted, like width-wise, and where it went in the back. I had more the tattoos I wanted. So that, if there's ever an action figure of Juice, that's the one. Okay.
I'm calling Mattel right now.
Please
now.
Do.
Get it out.
Yeah, or Kenner or Toy Biz or one of them. Okay. So Gemma is shooting up his hands. Obviously, that's going to play a part in the episode. Whenever they do that, that means that something's coming up about the hands.
I have a question for you right there.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're right. It's all about Clay's hands coming up many times. Great. I have a question. So Piney was able to ride a trike to get around the 1%er thing. Well, you have to ride. If you can't ride, you can't be in the club.
Yep.
Well, why can't Clay?
Because he couldn't ride the trike either. He still has to pull the gas.
Still had to turn the throttle and turn the throttle. And
it's his
change
hands.
The clutch. It's just his fucking hands.
It's just his hands. But I'm going to tell you, movie trick number 790 million.
Yeah.
When you use syringes in movies.
Yeah.
It's a retractable syringe.
Yeah.
So what it means is it looks exactly like a syringe. It is a syringe. It has liquid in it. It's a whole thing, but the silver point,
it goes into the thing.
It goes in and it looks like it's going into skin. So that is, I love that little movie trick that they do. That's one of them. And then another thing I'll tell you about that scene after because we're rolling out, we're leaving TM, all of us on the bikes.
Yeah.
Clay is Flintstoning his ass out of there. Did you see how many times he was kicking his foot? Meet the Flintstones. Did you see it?
Bad rock. Here's my kickstand. I'm gonna put my feet down. Clay boy, get on that motorcycle. Go pull up those
He tried.
He tried.
He Flintstoned right out of TM.
He was great. He's fucking great, man. That big fucking hog for him, man. He just.
I know. And listen, good. Listen, he got better. He did try.
Did he ever?
So Miles is in the truck. And now we go into what you referenced before, the great cover to Dylan's song. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I'm losing it.
So good.
I don't know who directed the episode, but the shots are made.
Billy Gerhardt.
It's Billy Gerhardt.
Billy, yeah.
Yeah, for all you, we've mentioned it a bunch. Billy directed Kim and I in CSI Miami. Billy was the cinematographer or the A camera operator on The Shield, and he's also a diehard Disney fan.
Yeah, that's right. He was.
he used to go to Disney World like every week. Wait, what's the one in California?
Shoulder?
Disney World?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the one in California is Disneyland.
Disneyland. Yeah. He would go to Disneyland every single weekend with his wife.
Missed it.
Crazy. So, he's the one who taught me about the 33 Club. Do you know about this?
Yeah, I was there once actually.
Yeah, it's that club in the middle of Disney. It's like a members only club.
You can have beers and everything. It's kind of amazing. I went there once with a Disney executive. I said, "We can have a beer here." Ooh.
in Disney. A
Disney.
giant chicken leg and a beer. That's what people do there. So remember that night? Do you remember the night in the gas station? That's the famous picture.
I do.
Do you remember that picture I took?
I do.
That's that night.
No, and it's amazing. And I have to tell you, we're in Arizona now. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you remember there was a huge argument that was rippling through all of us within about a 12-hour period where all of us, me included, said, well, we're not wearing helmets because we're going into Arizona. There's a no helmet law. You don't have to wear a helmet in Arizona.
I've done it.
I disagree with that. I think everyone should be wearing a helmet because people who know me, I'm safety first. However, that's the way it goes. So I said, Booney said, Charlie said, you said, Clay said, we all went, well, we can't wear helmets. Even though we didn't film this in Arizona, we were somewhere. Do you remember where it was, Rossi? Even?
It was far. I do remember that. It was, I want to say
like,
it wasn't Sunland. It was far.
Palmdale. It was even
weirder, it was Palmdale. It might have been
desert,
Palmdale.
More deserty.
Yeah.
So we're out there, and basically it came back from the executives at Fox and then to FX, which is an affiliate. If the boys think they're not wearing helmets, they're basically off the show. We're not doing the show because of insurance. We had to wear helmets when we rode.
Yeah, it's so like seatbelts in movies. Like no matter what, even if you're in like a getaway chase, even if you just rob the bank,
you have to put your seatbelt on.
You have to put your seatbelt on.
So
we really antiquated movie TV thing. Yeah.
Right. So we had to put them on when we were riding, which is kind of BS, but we got through it because the stuff that happened in Arizona was kind of spectacular.
Again, let's call out the madness on, let's just call out the madness because I have to do this as I get older. Let's call out the madness. They're concerned that we wear those helmets.
Right.
They're concerned you put a seatbelt on, but not concerned if you cut somebody's head off.
No.
They're concerned if you show someone's ass, but not concerned if you cut someone's liver out.
Yeah. No. Got to have those helmets on because we don't want Tiggy falling off his bike and banging his head. That's what they were worried about. They didn't want that kind of shit to go down there.
But also because they don't want people to see.
Yeah, they don't want people to see. That's
silly. What a silly thing. Okay. So that was that famous picture. And I was just referencing.
Great shot, by the way.
Yeah, it was great. It's when everybody's making the faces. It's such a great picture.
Great shot. We're all goofed up.
And Lobo Sebastian plays Mondo. He's great. I have a big problem with the whole Sam Taz.
Is he AM PM? Is he that guy? AM PM. Everything's great. He does a lot of voiceovers. He's got that voice that's down here like that.
It's got a fucking great voice.
It's just good. And he was great in the show.
And he's great. He's got great.
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing with these goddamn idiots anyway? What are we with Sam Taz for? Like,
I'm going to get into it more in a minute, but before we do that, I just want to also point out something else. So they're dealing meth. We see there's a dust up. There's some hullabaloo going on. Whatever they call it. There's a little thing.
A little hullabaloo. It's a little hullabaloo.
A fight. Kids used to say. I don't even know what it means. And there's a dust up, and Tig runs and tackles. It surely ain't Tig. I'm gonna tell you.
I wrote down that was the worst hair job of any double I've ever had on that show.
Let's also reference that he was 162 pounds.
He was a little guy. And his hair was blacker than black. And it was matted on like a skunk on the top of his head. I don't know who the hair department was at that time, but trust me, we need to do that scene again. We need to shoot that on Monday. Let's shoot it again. Please let me do it the next time.
Please put an insert in all existing copies because the guy's 165 pounds, about 5'2". He's got.
Now the gal that what she called a skank. I don't know if you can get away with that anymore either.
No.
But, she was taller than Tig. Like, what? What happened?
The one who jumped on your back in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was me on my back. And that was
her, right. But the guy who
my double. Yeah, little guy.
Terrible double. Terrible. And I got to blame whoever the stunt coordinator is because it was a terrible double. Okay. So they're dealing crank, which is bad news. And he says, not your club, not your call. Okay. Before we get deep into this whole Sam Taz storyline seems like filler to me. It does nothing to push the narrative. It does nothing for the greater story. it exists in its own time capsule, which is just this episode.
They wanted to give excitement to the meetup with Romeo. That's all they needed. They needed and I don't know why they did it. I don't know what the writers were thinking, but they needed the sound, the big chase is coming up, the big explosions coming up.
Yep.
They felt they needed a visualization of kaboom. Oh my God, drama before really all that was important. And it's fucking great. The end of this episode with Romeo and the music and the shit that goes down with the boy. That's good stuff. That's
all great. But I'm saying out of a 40-something minute episode,
could care less about this.
30-something minutes is dedicated to the Sam Taz thing.
Don't care.
That it has nothing to do with the characters of Sons. It has nothing to do with
nothing.
I just didn't like it. Okay. So here's a fun fact. Another one. We're at the Sam Taz table in their clubhouse. There were two things that happened there. I don't know if you remember any of it. You ready?
No. Test me.
Okay. Number one, the giant picture on the wall that they have of the guy, the big cut, the person riding, and it's on their wall. If you go back and watch the episode, you can see. That's me. Okay. It's me.
That's you on a bike?
It's me. Medina used my picture on the bike, just removed the tattoos from the head. So it's me. He took a picture of me from behind on my bike. So you'll see on the wall, it's Juice. Bald head and all, just no tattoos. That's their art. No, that's their artwork. Another thing was, throughout the years, we had many people in different industries who were very large fans of Sons of Anarchy, especially.
Wanted to be on the show.
And they wanted to be on the show. And that day, sitting at that table,
what the fuck,
is a quarterback named Kerry Collins from the NFL. Kerry Collins was in the scene. Yeah.
Good memory, man. Went right over my head.
Right over your head. And I think he might have been Collins. Kerry Collins. I believe he played at Penn State and he was quarterbacking for the Carolina Panthers at the time.
That's great. It's great.
On the show, he had a Sam Taz cut on. He had a bandana on, and he's sitting at the table. He did.
I don't remember seeing him in the show. I watched it last night, but totally remember him being there that day.
Yeah, and he was super fucking excited to be there, and it was awesome. And we had that a few times.
You and I had so much quarterback talk with him that day.
Oh my goodness. And it was just crazy. I mean, we had it years later with Carmelo Anthony and all these other people, but it was like everybody who would come on or come down to visit or just, wanted to be a part of it. Eventually they get thrown as an extra somewhere, and they usually regretted it about an hour in. They were like, fuck.
They were there all day.
I got to be here all day. I just wanted to say hello to these guys. I got to be here all day in this seat. Okay. So now we're going to deal with all this, right? We're going to deal with this whole Sam Taz thing. Fine. No problem. Gemma, we cut to Gemma at the flower shop. By the way, this is why, God, let me just talk to actors for a second. If you have one fucking line in a scene, do what Chucky did in that scene. He comes up with one line and steals the whole scene. He comes up with his digits, the way he puts his hand out.
Hi, my name is Chucky.
That's
it. That's all I did. Nubs.
And then he goes, I bid you adieu when she says to win. It's so much he's doing with so little.
So great.
And so great. And that's how you make a character so memorable. He's making he's so weird, and he's making these strong choices that are defining Chucky, right?
Ray McKinnon walking across the street as Link. He had his hands together like a priest as he's walking across the street. And as I noticed that last night, and we're getting to know him now with that brown leather jacket, he smokes in every scene. He never takes the jacket off, but he also came up with that. And as an actor, you just want to come up with stuff, how you walk, how you talk, how do you cross your legs? Like, just find something that you feel the character would do. And fuck, is that guy consistent? I mean, he's even got his hands clasped together. It's almost like he'd be reaching for a smoke if he didn't have his hands clasped together as he walked across the street, looking like a priest with a brown leather jacket.
That's a great thing. And, we'll talk about that when we do that other show, about acting, but it is that little thing of like, okay, whatever you decide, whatever it is, as simple as it is, if you look down before you say something, if you rub your hands together before you get angry, whatever it is, just be consistent, right? So that's why, for certain things, like if you stick a rock in your shoe, right? If you have a limp and because
God.
you might forget, or I just did this, what movie was I doing or whatever? I don't know what it was, but I got stabbed and I put like one of those giant metal paper clips on my back, right? Because I knew that I might forget. So here I am.
You're not going to forget.
It got infected and all that, but I had it on there. I had it on there so I can reference it whenever I go to sit down or whenever I go to, whatever.
Oh, it's a great reminder.
And I think that what Ray, again, these are those strong choices that become part of the actor. Like, I used to tell you the way Tig stood. You always stood a certain way with your hand on your knife and your leg out.
It took my trainer 2 years to get me out of that stance. I fucked up my back so bad. Hand on the knife.
Up your hip, right?
Yeah, hip was gone.
But again, it became the way Tig stands.
And you want to do these things. What you're saying too, Theo, is what you want to do these things without thinking about it. See, if you have to think about acting, if you have to think about your lines, you're done. You're done. The camera's going to see it. You want to know your lines so well you can forget them. You want to put, like Theo said, he wants to put something on his back so he doesn't have to think about it. But that pain in the method shit that you and I do here and there, it'll always be there. So you don't have to think about it, but you'll play the pain because it's there. This guy, Ray McKinnon's crossing his hands. He did it so much he didn't have to think about it anymore. It became part of who he was. And that's why it was so good.
Yeah, and I love it. And when it's done right, it's so great. So there's that scene right now. Gemma's at the flower shop.
She's with Roosevelt's wife, Rita, Theo.
Yeah. Here we are crossing worlds, right? And I'm still
crossing fucking worlds, man.
Why did she want to be in the Gold Circle Club so much? Was it to show that, like,
I think because Rita, if I may, I think Rita, and they both know who each other is. Rita's going to be the savior of making sure Charming Heights doesn't happen. They don't want that Charming Heights thing that fucking Hale's on about, and it's going to change Charming. This gal who's new to the city, new to the town, doesn't want that to happen either. She wants these trees to go, and we can't cut them down. We want to, and so Gemma wants to be a part of helping her with saving from Charming Heights from actually being built.
Yeah. And then we find out that Marco Ramirez wrote this episode. And if anybody's familiar with Marco, not just he's now one of the best writers in Hollywood, he show ran and wrote Daredevil. He was in, and he's heavy in the Marvel universe. I think he might be doing stuff with Star Wars. I'm not even sure, or maybe I just manifested that, but he's all over the game right now. I mean, he's like literally show running, big giant writer. And he started, I think Sons was his big kind of coming out, thing. Okay. So big biker scene and run is up, right? And again, whenever these are happening, I don't really remember this, but I kind of remember. I remember it being like the side of the sun hot wherever we were that day when we went up. Remember, it was supposed to be at this big biker run.
Never forget.
And I remember we had to keep running inside because it was so hot. My tattoos I know that day, because what would happen when my tattoos got hot?
They would bubble.
And they used to have to pop them with pins to get the water out. And I remember that day they were having a really hard time. So they kept running me inside, doing the umbrella thing. We were far away, right? We
were a shit ton away. We actually got to, drive home that night. We might've been there 2 days, one for sure, long ass day with the second unit. We had so much driving to do, so much riding to do, pardon me, with that truck and then the pre-explosion and where we parked our bikes. That took forever. And so that's the time we had to go inside while they reset up. Once we got to sit there and turn around over our shoulder, there's a really good close-up of you and me looking over our shoulder just before that barrel and shit blew up. That was a real explosion, peeps.
But no, before the explosion, we're at that like bike show where they come up and tell us, you got a tail. We're at that one.
Oh, that location.
Yeah, we're at that location. And what I loved about what Billy did on that, and I've never seen this done on Sons, we're about to ride out. This is pre the explosion when Benito Martinez's character is like, you better lose that tail. We're about to ride out, and he did this fucking sick shot. He put the camera on someone's hand with the grip, on the throttle.
Uh-huh.
And it like, as the bike was moving, he came off the throttle and went into the bike moving. And it was like,
Cool.
And it was such a cool shot. If you go back,
Billy would love that shit. He would love that camera stuff.
Yeah. So again,
So
there's
good.
these beautiful riding scenes. When we do get to that gas station, I will say something about that gas station. It's super famous for filming. I've filmed there other stuff outside of Sons, other commercials and other TV shows. That is, I believe, if I'm correct, that is just a filming location.
I bet.
It's not in business.
I bet.
And I remember being there because then I also took these other famous pictures of me and Chibs that are all over the internet with me and him just kind of hanging out in that little diner slash area.
Great. Beautiful. Weird.
There was also someone shooting something there, and it's either a next episode. It has to be a next episode that we were shooting at the same time. Someone was shooting something in a hotel room. Do you remember? It was Bobby and someone.
No, yeah. I don't.
So if in the next episode there's something in a hotel room, I do remember there was a second unit shooting there.
I bet.
But I also remember that explosion. First of all, biggest explosion we've ever done, except for when the clubhouse blows up.
I think so.
It took all day.
All day.
And again, what was the point? To shake the tail? It could have been. Could have saved a lot of money.
The point was, it didn't make much sense at all. Who gives a rat's ass? But boy, it looked good, and it looked kind of bikerish. It looked kind of SOA-ish, and that's why they did it.
That's Bruckheimer shit. Like that could have been like a Michael
shit.
Bay Bruckheimer giant. So again, giant fucking thing. Biggest stunt we've ever done.
Certainly explosion for sure. Big time.
Yeah, biggest explosion until the clubhouse when that comes up. Because I do remember that. So then Lincoln Potter realizes we've lost the tail, right? He's standing on the table in all his weirdness, doing his thing. Kind of moves like the lead singer of In Excess. You probably don't know who they are.
I don't.
Okay. And then we go to the pet store and the guy shows up with the blacked out tattoos. So this is a really interesting thing that we've been playing since the first season, that you had two ways when you were out of the club. You want to explain that of what would happen?
Well, they have to get rid of your tattoos for sure. They have to get rid of your tattoos. They have to burn them off or cut them off, like we had to do to Brian Van Holt in was that the first season or second season? I think it was the first season, like episode 5 or 6 or something. Yeah. That was that way. And basically you're dead the second way. Like, I don't even know.
I mean, you might recover in the burn unit if he gets burnt off, but the other way is you black them out and you look like this guy looked, where all the tattoos are blacked out until that's obviously.
And he showed us on his arm. They're all blacked out. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, when you came in, he had no shirt on, which, by the way, why is he working in a pet store with no shirt on? I don't understand.
I had so much issue with this fucking scene anyway.
Okay. I mean, what the fuck? And then you with the bunny?
Yeah, come on. I'm an animal lover. I know I'm playing Tig. I know.
They show Tig as an animal lover down the road.
I know. And it became more and more and more. And I just read that and I went, fuck. This rabbit with those big long ears.
Tig would never hurt an animal.
Was the cutest. I hated doing that scene. I hated it.
But it's also, didn't you feel, and again, maybe this is one of those things where you got to, pick your battles, like I always say in acting. Isn't this one of those things where you're like, this doesn't follow my narrative as Tig Traeger?
Well, I will say this. Had that bunny been done some harm, I'm out. I'll fight and scrap and pick my battle till it's someone else doing it, or it shouldn't even be in the show. Because Tig was just threatening the bunny with his knife, which is stupid anyway. And the guy starts to talk on that. Okay, so he's a big animal lover, so he's going to spill his beans, which was kind of dumb. It turned out okay for the rabbit and for me, so I didn't pick that fight.
But again, you got the stuff with your dog with you and Kozik. You have the stuff coming up down the road with the dog fighting when Tig is furious, whatever. We know Tig is a giant animal lover. That's been established.
Wrong guy.
Wrong guy. Wrong guy.
Bad writing. Come on.
Bad writing. Wrong guy. Sorry, Marco. Wrong guy. Bad. I don't know if Marco wrote that scene. Bad, but lazy.
Give it to Tig. He's a psycho. Give it to Tig.
Chib.
He's psychotic.
Give it to Chibs.
He'll do it.
Give it to Chibs. Should have did something like that. Or you just, I don't like it. Okay.
I think Tommy had one line in this whole episode and it was like, no.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Beginning of this scene. That's
beginning of this scene.
Infuriating.
Hysterical.
Piney and Tara scene. I got to tell you, it's probably my favorite scene in the episode. He plays every line he says like a song. Fucking Bill Lucky.
That's you know what that is, Theo? That's old school acting.
Old school.
That's old school George C. Scott. That's old school cowboy shit. That's called acting. You learn your lines.
Take a word for granted.
And I'm not taking one word for granted. And not only will I not take it for granted, I'm going to make it real. So hang with me while I'm here. So was that a good scene?
And he's just sitting there and he's fucking
laying there.
And he's sitting on that couch. He fell asleep. You know, you could tell that Piney's, deteriorating or whatever. He says a fucking
He's sitting on the couch. You're right. Like, come on.
He says a line in this scene before he goes down, where his blood sugar gets low or whatever. But he says a line. And we'll get to it in a minute. But he says something coming up. But Gemma and Chucky interrupt. Yeah. And already we're starting to paint. This is the beginning. It's happened before, but now we're being pretty definitive that Gemma might be the enemy here. We're starting to paint that who the good guys are, who the good people are, like Piney, Tara are trying to figure stuff out. And Gemma, when she comes in, what is she hiding? What's going on with John? What happened to John Teller? We're starting to get to that point, right?
She goes, what are you doing, Piney?
Well, no, when she first comes in and Tara says, no, we're going to finish talking.
Got you.
Then she leaves, right? So between those two scenes, I just want to go back to that.
Sure.
We meet Romeo. We see him for the first time. And we're on the side of the road. We meet them. I want everybody to go back and look because I realize and I see the dumbest things when I'm watching. They go back to the car after we leave. The sons leave. We get on our bikes. We leave. Romeo and Benito Martinez, I'm going to call him because I don't know his character's name.
Louise.
Okay, so Louise and Romeo go back to their car. And Louise says to Romeo, you trust these guys? And he says, until I don't have to or whatever, right? And you realize that.
Until I don't have to. That's exactly what he said.
Okay. I want you to go look at that scene. And this is what I love about movies and movie magic. There's a fly on Trejo's leather jacket the entire time. It lands right as the scene's starting, and it's right there on his.
Never left
on his lapel. Never left the whole shot.
Did Brando and Adam go get a fake fly and put it on there for continuity?
Nope,
purposes?
That's a real fly. It flew on him and it stood there. And I've been
He's a scene stealer.
You've been there. You've been there with a
fly wrangler. He's a fucking star. That fly, Zippy. His name was Zippy.
That star knew how to find that fly knew how to find the camera.
He knew where the camera was.
How many times have you done scenes where a bug comes into it, like whether it be a gnat or a fly or a mosquito, or it goes in your ear?
Bro, I'm doing Bad Blood, second season, and we're in Northern Ontario, and it's black fly season. And I made a pact with myself as Declan Gardner. I was not going to let these little fuckers annoy me, not one time. And it got all around the fly community. It doesn't bug Coatesy. Fuck that guy. Don't even go. They would come early, and I never once, Theo, did this, wave the hand, or, oh, fuck, give me some. No, I stood there and I took it for about 2 hours, and then they fucking left me alone. And all right, that's it. So there's a little fly on Trejo's jacket. I love it.
Yeah. My thing is when I'm doing scenes sometimes, and this happens to me because I guess maybe it's the more emotional stuff or whatever, I'll start to get like a little drip coming out of my nostril. And I'm like, don't you wipe that fucking drip.
Don't leave it. Let it drip.
Let it drip. I'm like, just let it go.
Yeah.
And if the person I'm in the scene with is like right here, all I'm thinking is they see it. They see what's happening in my nose.
Then you gotta hide your thinking of that thing.
It's so funny. You could have a full conversation with yourself while you're acting. Like you could be saying words and thinking something completely different.
Trust me, I didn't say it a lot in season 7. I was thinking that. Me and Tommy were thinking that a lot.
Oh, I know.
So
Trejo and his fly get in the car.
Okay,
and
cool.
then, yeah, it's again me seeing this. Potter. So Potter, I missed this. Lincoln says, my guy from the Shield comes in, hands him something on Luis.
Luis, yeah.
I didn't understand. He says something about Galindo. What? And he says, we're back in the game. And Potter seems excited.
Back into Rico. We're back in it again already. I have no fucking idea what any of that
Okay,
is.
I don't know. So I don't want to knock the writing. What the fuck were they talking about?
They're just talking about, they wanted to know who Romeo's main guy was. They find out he's this guy. Trouble, killer, wow, was with him. Now they're running this cartel. So.
Oh, I get it. So because he's got a criminal record and he's got a criminal record.
Now we're back to Rico. Now we can connect the two. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I think so.
So we cut back to this next scene. And before we get into the whole scene, Clay squeezes this guy's nuts when he's leaving.
Yeah. And that's because remember back at the beginning of Sitting Down, we meet in that garage, the gas station, nighttime, and that VP who was kind of a dick played really well.
What a dick.
What a dick.
What a dick.
He goes to shake Clay's hand and says, we didn't bring it up.
Problem with the grip.
He goes, hey, what happened to your grip?
I know. I know that. And that guy, by the way, that guy is either a dick or the greatest actor because he played a fucking dick great.
He was a dick all day long for 2 days in a row. So good.
He's great.
He might be a dick in real life.
He might be a dick. He might, or he might be a fucking amazing actor.
So no, that's called good writing, Theo. They want to tie it up. They want to tie the grip thing up. How's that grip going for you now, buddy?
No, I know, but you think you would ever
grab his nuts?
Grab his nuts and not hit him in the head? Like, you got Probably another free arm. Like Probably if someone grabs my nuts like that, I'm going to go for the choke. The guy didn't do anything.
No, he didn't do anything because he's on Sons of Anarchy as a guest star. And it's Ron Perlman's number 2 on the call sheet. And that's the way it's written. So do you pick your fights and go, hey, that's fucked up. No, you don't want to punch him because we're moving on. He didn't even
fight back.
No.
All right. Okay. So he grabs his nuts. Okay. So here we go. Piney's back in the hospital.
Uh-huh.
Tara tells him about the letters and all the Belfast stuff.
Yeah.
Gemma walks in as the finger is pointing at her, this whole thing. Okay. Gemma's trying to push him back. This is the line that I love Piney says, and you probably know it. She says, you better watch, or basically it can get you killed. She basically threatens him. And he says, that's what I'm hoping for. And you realize he has a fucking death wish. His thing is, I'm going to get the truth.
That's what I'm half hoping for.
That's what I'm half
hoping for. So you think Gemma gives, as you just said beautifully, the greatest line of a button of the scene. Oh, wait, no, we're not done yet. Piney's got an even better one for you, Gemma. That's what I'm half hoping for. Are you fucking kidding me? What a great day those two legends must have had.
Oh,
right?
What a fucking pleasure that must be. I mean, and again, there's no effort. And that's why you believe Piney. Oh, fuck. Piney does have a death wish. He wants the truth about John Teller. He wants to save his club.
Yeah.
He has so much history. He follows the rules. Yeah, he might be a drunk. He might be this. He might be a racist. Fuck that character. He might be whatever, but fuck, man. He's got some stuff going on when he acts.
Yeah, his exact line was, that's half the reason I'm doing it. That's the exact line. Come on. And I think we're not giving spoilers away, right? We made a pact. This is season 4, right?
Yeah, no, we're past
that.
Yeah.
Okay, now where are we at?
Okay, so Sam Taz is handling the members who did the dirt.
So can I just bring something up first?
Sure.
Like, was it just me, or like you and I were missing from a couple of these scenes? And I know that one of them we were missing because we had to go get that crazy kid that I think is coming up now, or maybe
the crank kid.
the crank kid. We had to go get him. It wasn't really explained, but we weren't there for that. We weren't in the big parking lot. Like, where the fuck? And one more thing I have to point out to everybody, because I noticed it in this episode. Juice is fucking off. You were so subtle with, and it took me a minute to figure out where you were going with this, because I couldn't, and then I got it, that we need not forget what you were told in the office with Roosevelt in the last episode. And so you were playing that, bro, were you? I mean, you must have been.
So let me tell you what happened. This is what's so funny.
Tell me.
It brought back a flood of memories when I watched this. Here I am, this, side character for the first 3 seasons. And he gives me this incredible nugget in season 4, episode 3.
Big.
Roosevelt and I have the scene in the last episode. And I'm like, here we go. Strap on the rocket. We're going straight to the fucking cosmos. I'm thinking this is it. And I can't wait to get episode 4. And guess what? There's nothing in it about it.
Nothing.
And now remember, I don't know anything.
Right.
So I go, oh, fuck. Didn't work out. I go, they must have saw the scene. Didn't like
no, did you go there in your head?
Yeah, but I went, why would they not mention it? Why would they not even have like a beat where Roosevelt calls my phone? Or why would they not, like, we're not talking about it. And I read that script like a 7-year-old on Christmas morning getting into his stocking. I was like, oh, there's nothing.
Wait, it's something. Hang on, there's got to be
something.
No, nothing.
So I went, okay, don't give up all hope yet. Maybe it'll come later. They're going to continue. They would never, ever do that scene. But now remember, the episode hasn't been edited yet. The episode hasn't aired yet. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe they just cut the whole thing.
Of you and Roosevelt in the office?
Yeah. Because again, remember, I'm reading, remember where my head's at. I'm reading this episode. This has not been done for me on the show.
Right.
And if you look at episode 4, there is not one single mention of what occurred. So I went, maybe they just ditched the whole storyline. But I didn't want to not play it. So from the beginning stuff, when we're packing the guns, to all the stuff at the gas station, I was morose. You
played it beautifully. There's a great shot of you in which I didn't like the scene at all, the rabbit scene, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And the guy was fucking great who did the tattoo stuff, the red hair. He was fine.
Yeah, he was great.
But Jesus Christ, I hated it. And there's you at the door. Clay tasks you to make a call. You don't even go, got it, chief, or on it.
Yeah.
You're just absolutely not in a good mood.
Yeah, he's just not there. And I said, I'm going to continue.
Good for you for playing that shit, dude.
I'm going to play it because I don't know what's going to happen, right? But while I was disappointed, I'm going to happen. But I will tell you something that did happen, not just on this show, and it's happened on other shows. If anybody's in filmmaking in any way, the department that will make or break films is the AD department. Okay, the assistant directors, the first AD, the second AD, the second, and everybody else under it. They're the ones who do the schedules. They're the ones who wrangle the actors. They're the ones who do everything. On Sons and on many shows, if you're not the featured element in the show, now it doesn't mean you could be the main actor and not be the featured element in the scene. I can't tell you how many times, because I know the script so well, I'd be like, I don't think I'm in that scene. Why do you have me written in there?
Oh yeah, that happened.
And the AD department will be like, let me call you back. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're not in that scene. I'm like, I know. I read the script. Did you? Or, hey, you don't have me scheduled for that scene.
In that scene.
I should be in that scene because I'm with them riding on the bikes before coming into the diner. And they're like, oh yeah, well, let me check. I'm like, no, you don't have to check. It's a fact.
I'm telling you right now.
I'm telling you that I rode in with them, but because you don't have lines, they don't think. So there are many times that I'm watching, excuse me, as you and I are watching this for the first time ever, that I'm like, why are we not in that scene? And then I realized because they just fucked up.
No, it's true.
And
because I didn't have any lines, I guess I didn't give a fuck. Like, honestly.
No, because we're like, oh, I don't want to stand there.
I might as well sleep in, or I might as well go home early, and that's not really true because you and I cared about that show more than anybody, or as much as a lot of people.
No, I would call people out on it all the time. I'd be like, why am I not there?
Where were we in some of those scenes? Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going.
Okay. So Gemma is she's getting in on that Gold Circle Club. She gives it a cash money.
Yeah.
Says it's from Tara Knowles.
Yeah.
She doesn't even want the credit.
Nope. Secret. All secretive. I'm a secret donor between you and me, Rita. Wink, wink. You'll take
wink,
cash,
wink.
right? I love that little moment. You take cash.
Yeah.
And Rita's like,
whatever's clever.
Whatever you got.
Yeah. And again, Gemma feels good. Like I'm part of this, and we're doing the right thing to get this, Hale project finished. So I love this because it doesn't happen. The next scene we cut to, it doesn't happen a lot. I love the night riding scenes.
Yeah. It was hard to light. They were hard to light, but that's why they're so good.
They're so good.
They're just so good, bro.
So then we're at that Galindo facility. By the way, if you had me on a polygraph and fucking literally had me in the William Wallace torture scene, I could not remember this night.
I don't remember any of it, but I did write down, this is the cartel.
Yeah.
The little boy scenes are over. This is when we stepped into the big boy bad house. If you think for 1 second, this isn't where every fucking shit's going to go down, and it's been well thought of by Benito and Romeo, forget about it, because it has. This is big boy operations.
That's big time. We've entered the big time. We've entered dangerous time. Right. And I don't want to forget to bring up that throughout this entire episode, Bobby is that little reminder of, hey, fuckers.
He's pissed off, man.
Hey, fuckers, you sure you want to be doing this? You sure?
And he's telling us.
Yeah.
He's got a bark going on.
He's got a bark. He's got a lot of bark, and he's mad, and he's not holding back. Okay, so then we go to Otto in the hole. I have a question. Do you think they use Luann's pictures, or is that a double?
Oh, boy. First of all, I know for a fact, as do you, that she was not there that day that they shot her dead.
That's what I mean.
That was a double.
I know it didn't end.
But they might have morphed part of her face into some of the ones when she's on her back. I can't.
Yeah, they didn't focus in on them too much. If I had to bet, I might say that's not really her.
I think you're right. You know what I got out of this scene though, Theo, is I felt it was almost like, and again, don't take this the wrong way, because it's not at all the same, but like Jesus Christ on the cross, can't see, beaten up, all that. There's Kurt as Otto. He's out. He can't see. Yeah. He can barely hear. And there was a light that Billy came through a little fucking when the door, because he's in solitary confinement. There's a little, and it shone on those photos. Mm-hmm. And you could tell Otto touching those, his fingers were shaking.
He dropped a tear too. He got the tear.
And he dropped a tear, bro.
Good for him, man.
Good for him, and good for Billy for not lingering on it. It just started. Boom, we're out.
He got that tear. It got started. He cut out. He didn't even stay for the drop.
Scene. Very sad scene. Very crazily sad scene.
All right. So Tig is there. The stash is back in full effect. They give us the kilos. Everything is about to change for us. I have a question. I know they mentioned it earlier. Opie and Kozak are out of the episode. Why?
They're dealing with the Irish. It was actually, I heard early in the episode, it was Happy and Kozak that were up north.
Oh yeah, Happy's not there either.
Happy and Kozak, they mentioned. Clay says it early in the episode. They're dealing with the Irish up north. I never heard one thing about Opie. Opie they were saving money in this episode.
How is he out of this? He was contracted for every episode. Well, you know what I mean? How is he out of this episode? This isn't when he got hurt and tore his bicep. How is he out of the episode?
No, it might have been that. He was pumping weights like a
Oh,
mofo.
maybe this is when he tore his bicep and he had to leave the show for a minute.
I think so. This is
Because
when he was doing
he
it.
should not be out of the episode.
Oh, if anything, you got Charlie. And Charlie, we didn't even talk about this, but Jax is shooting Clay's hand up early in this episode to that Bob Dylan overture song. And they're trying to get along because they're both going to get out. Clay wants to retire. Jax wants to go away with Tara. And Opie is going to be the new president. Opie's got to be there for all of this. He hurt himself. That's it, bro.
Yeah. So
dead right.
Here's and you know, again, it ends with us. You know, we're in a totally different world. So here's my thoughts. It's definitely a bridge. Yeah, this is a bridge episode.
Yeah,
it's a bridge. It's a setup. It's a bridge episode. You know, it's going to take us somewhere. You know, we're paying the toll for some of these scenes. I do feel that the Sam Taz stuff was pointless. It made us learn a little bit more about motorcycle clubs, which is cool. But again, I thought it was pointless. We could have spent that time doing some other stuff. I don't know. It's all right. What do you think?
I love the ending and I love the beginning. And there was a few darts in the middle that were like the piney shit, the hospital stuff. It was that was cool.
The piney stuff was brilliant, and I love the way it was shot.
Yeah, love the way it was shot.
I love the way it was shot. The direction was
and
great.
We're ending this with Bobby ain't happy. He's not happy. Clay's not happy with Bobby. Bobby's not happy with Clay.
And Otto's surely not happy with Bobby.
And I don't know what episode 5 is, bro, but we're going to talk about it next week. And I have a feeling we might get back to some of the stuff that made Sons truly magnificent. So,
yeah, I have no idea what it's about. I'm excited for it. But it's funny. I remember I thought Sam Taz was around all the time. Did they ever come back?
You're asking me? Who cares?
Yeah, I know. We don't who cares?
We don't fucking know a thing. What are you joking?
I don't know a fucking thing. I got my cow mug and my running shirt on. That's
I loved your spacesuit today, little brother.
My spacesuit is about to hit them streets right now.
Hit them streets, baby.
I'm gonna hit them streets. So you know the deal. If you're watching this right now and you're listening to the lullabies of the Canadian crooner Kim Coates, you know, hit subscribe and like down below.
Give it a review if you want to.
Give it a something. Give it a comment. Give it a whatever. Go wherever you listen to the audio, because I know you're watching and listening. Go and subscribe and do all that. Tell your friends. Yeah. Tell your pet. Tell your dog. I don't like the word pet. Tell your partners, that the animals that let you be in their life.
Exactly.
And then go over to Patreon and check out our new show Theory. Because,
it's so fun over there too, bro.
Yeah, if you're part of the Reaper crew, you're a producer on the show, and you get to ask all the questions on our live Q&A that we're doing once a month.
We'll talk about that next week. Here we go.
Which, by the way, that's going to be audio too. You know, they could hear us, we could hear them. So get ready.
Get ready, Freddie.
Yeah. Even though they can't see you or smell you, you better use Listerine.
I smell good. I always did. I
always
will.
Like lavender all the time.
Always.
Right. I love you. Go do your thing.
Love you, buddy. Happy run.
Bye.